in these weeks, so many Yidden, it's a minute in Klal Yisrael that after Pesach, at least from Pesach to Shavuos, so Klal Yisrael learns Masechtas Avos. Their reasons brought why Klal Yisrael learns Avos. Abu Draham speaks about reasons. The simplest pshat is that we're preparing for Kabbalah Satir. We're preparing, and preparing a person works on Midas Titus, and that's the simplest reason why Klal Yisrael learns Avos. There are other minhagim that people learn Masechtas Avos through the summer, that they continue on after Shavuos, to continue Masechtas Avos. I'd like to learn a little bit once in a while now, to try once in a while to jump in to learn some Masechtas Avos. I want to share something from Rabbi Shapiro Shlita. He said something in this yeshiva 2 years ago that I liked a lot. I liked it a lot what he said. It like resonated. It's probably a lot of truth to what he said. And I want to share it with the Chevra. The Mishnah scribes in Avos Moshe Kibel Torah from Sinai. Moshe learned Torah, was Mekabel Torah from Sinai from the Rebbeinu Shalom. U'misara Yeshua. He taught the Torah to Yeshua. Yeshua is Canaan. Yeshua taught his Canaan l'Neviim. The Canaan taught the Neviim. The Neviim gave it to Anshe Knesset Agdolah. Heim Amru. Then it quotes 3 statements from the Anshe Knesset Agdolah. The Anshe Knesset Agdolah was the governing body that actually gave us the Siddur. This is the first sefer ever written down. In the world, normally Torah is not written down. Varm Shabal Pe'yat Rishai L'Kaisvan. From the first writings of our Chachamim is the Siddur. The Chachamim wrote the Siddur, the Anshe Knesset Agdolah. Amongst them were the last Nevi'im, the last prophets that we had. They actually wrote the Siddur because it has powers. The words have powers. They were Nevi'im. They knew how to unlock things that we don't know how to unlock. There's tremendous power to the Siddur. It's hard for people because they say, I don't even know what I'm saying. The Anshe Knesset Agdolah, the words are very powerful beyond your own ability. The words are powerful. That's the very Siddur. It was written by the Anshe Knesset Agdolah, and they knew what to say. It's a good question. They knew what to say, when to say, and how to say, and they put tremendous power in the Siddur. It's complicated because people say, I don't know what it means. Certainly, you should try to find out what it means, but there's a tremendous power to the words in the Siddur. A matter of fact, prayer has 2 aspects. You're supposed to speak from your heart. You're supposed to. It's people ask, "Am I allowed to speak in English during Shemona Esrei?" You're supposed to. It's a shtickle, an incomplete prayer if somebody doesn't speak in English. It's a prayer. Your yaitza, a complete prayer has words from the heart. One should speak in English in the Siddur. The way you should do it is typically in most brachas only speak about that bracha. You come to Hashivenu, you're talking about Shuvah, you should speak to Hashem. You should say, Hashem, I have a friend who's struggling, help him come lidei Shuvah, daven for our own Shuvah. In Rifa'enu Hashem, speak to Hashem. I have a friend who's very sick, needs a refuah. I have a friend who has a bad arm, who has a bad foot. Hashem, please heal his foot. One should speak in English. That's a big part of prayer. Baruch Aleinu. You might know somebody who's struggling financially. Say, Hashem, please, I have an uncle who needs parnasa. Hashem, give my uncle's name is so. It's a beautiful family. They struggle to make ends meet. Hashem, please give the family parnasa. Hashem's a shemei tefillah, and one should pray in English. One absolute. It's not can you. You're supposed to.
If that's what you understand.
You should the language you understand. One should really talk to Hashem. Yes. That's a very good question. In the middle, right smack dab in the middle, there's a halacha that near the bracha you're supposed to end me'ena chasima samuch chasima. So you talk. It's always in Baruch Aleinu as a mashal. You say Baruch Aleinu Hashem L'Kines Hashana Hazeh says Kol Minei Svasa. Give bracha. You're saying Brach al Pnei Adama, right there you should talk. My friend, the Mamish need Parnasa, the guy works so hard, send Shefa. Send Parnasa, the Rebbe, let his business take off. Then the last words before the bracha are supposed to be connected to the bracha. It's called Me'ena Chasim Asam. The Kitzur Advarim is that certainly a person should talk in English in Shema Esrei. But besides for his own words, there's the words of Chazal. In the Lashon, it says, Yaakov Avinu says that I won a war, b'charbi u'b'kashti, with my sword and my arrow. Yaakov Avinu says, I won a war, b'charbi u'b'kashti, which Onkelos says means two forms of prayer. Saloisiu ba'asi, two forms of prayer. I won it with both forms. What are these two forms of prayer that Yaakov Avinu attributed winning a war to two forms of prayer? The two forms of prayer are the words that are yotzim and alev, when you talk to God. You speak to Hashem. Mamish, talk to Hashem. Reb Nachman begged today's dar, what guys in yeshiva should do more is talk more to Hashem. Talk to Hashem. You're in the dorm, talk to Hashem. You're in the gym, talk to Hashem. You're walking in the forest, talk to Hashem. Mamish, talk to Hashem. Talk before you go to sleep, talk to Hashem. You have to talk to Hashem. Well, I want to talk to Hashem. Mamish. Reb Nachman question. There are two forms of prayer. There's one form of prayer, your own talk from your heart. There's another form of prayer, the prepared prayer. The one that the Anshe Knesset Agdola knew how to unlock things and had specific words, specific ways of saying things that have a tremendous power. That's why it's called a sword and it's called a bow. A sword kills on its own strength, it's sharp. That's the prayer of the Anshe Knesset Agdola, the prepared prayer that has a power for itself. It doesn't need the human help. And then there's the form of prayer, that's the bow that comes from the heart. You pull it to yourself. So those are the two forms of prayer. It's called Saloisi of Ausim. The Anshe Knesset Agdola made a prepared prayer. That as opposed to go in sync with the prayer from the heart, and we're supposed to come with both. Now, there's a big mile. You say, why do I need a prepared prayer? Doesn't Hashem want just me to come from my heart? There are a mile of the prepared prayer of Anshe Knesset Agdola. One of the miles is hachna, is humility. You come lifnei HaMelech and you read, there's a certain humility. But this is what we say, Baruch Atah, the Shema Esrei. So that's your prepared prayer. There's a tremendous humility to read in front of Hashem. Hashem, I come humble. I come tremendous humility. I say my own words, but I also have something prepared for you. There's a certain humility. I say the words that you told me to listen to Chachamim, and I'm listening to Chachamim coming. There's a achna, and that has that aspect of humility. L'maisa, the Anshe Knesset Agdola made tefillah. They were a governing body who had the last Nevi'im amongst them, the last prophets. Hey Mamu Shleish Advarim. The Anshe Knesset Agdola said three things. Now, I want to talk about the first thing they said. They said, Hayu misunim badin. Be very deliberate in judging. When you judge, if you're a dayan, when you judge, have a misunim badin. Be very deliberate. Don't answer. Deliberate. Misunim is patient, is to deliberate with a lot of care. Now, certainly, the simple pshat is don't be impulsive. Don't just say the first thing off the top. And work hard. Right? Shapiro asked the obvious question. Now, there's nothing wrong if they say something obvious, but he said it's so obvious. What were they coming as opposed to what? Oh, I thought to just say whatever comes to my mind. And the Anshe Knesset Agdola said, be very deliberate in judgment. He asked why the Anshe Knesset Agdola, why is this their message? Of all the messages to give in your life, be very deliberate, be careful what you say. Of course.
I know why they said. Can you answer that right?
Where's he showing that? That's why Shapiro asked. Right, Shapiro asked, what's the chiddush of the Anshe Knesset Agdola be misunim b'din, be very deliberate, as opposed to what? Who would think otherwise? What was their big worry with their people not being deliberate? What were they talking about? That's what Rabbi Shapiro asked. It's a very fair question. You always think, who were they talking to? What was the need to say it? Why are you saying that? Be deliberate, and the people thought. So Rabbi Shapiro said something, to me, was extremely intelligent. Rabbi Shapiro said, the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah, with that body that was there after the prophets. As a matter of fact, the Mishnah itself says that the Nevi'im gave it to Anshe Knesset Hagdolah. They were after prophecy. You have to understand there was a massive drop. When you read the Hadaris, we had prophecy before. We knew the truth. Prophets literally knew if you were missing, if you lost something, you went to the Navi, he told you where your lost item was. They knew. They knew stuff. And you have this massive fallout. We no longer have prophecy. There's a tremendous darkness. They used to know. They knew the secrets. Prophecy, direct line to God. You went to the Navi, you said, I'm missing something. The Navi would come back. I spoke to Hashem. It's over there and you'd find it. If a guy wanted to know his mission, it's brought, the Sfarim bring, a guy wanted to know his mission. What's my job in life? The Navi would meet you. He would find out, and he would tell you your mission in life. Your Shirish and Hashem is this, and this is your light you bring to the world. They knew. They mamish knew stuff. Comes the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah, and there's a loss of prophecy. There's this clarity. Rabbi Shapiro said something brilliant. He said the tendency when we lose the ability to know is to feel that I don't have so much. That I don't have so much for this discussion. So you could see people quoting, but what do you think about this matter? We just don't know anymore. We don't know anymore. So people would run, they would quote their Rebbeim. Their Rebbeim were prophets. As for what do you think? Oh, we're just dumb. There would be a sense that we don't know. My Rebbe told me a story that I'm going to bring out a point. My Rebbe met Reb Moshe Feinstein and lost his mind. We're Zayich in Yeshiva. We have Reb Moshe's great-great-great-grandson in Yeshiva. David Grayer is a great-great-great-grandson of Reb Moshe Feinstein. My Rebbe met with Reb Moshe. It's a true story. My Rebbe met with Reb Moshe Feinstein, and he lost his mind from the greatness of the human being. He couldn't believe it. He was in front of Reb Moshe Feinstein, the Chassidish Yid. He asked him a simple shayla. He asked what's the bracha on water. It wasn't that. The guy asked the simplest shayla. My Rebbe was shaking like a leaf. He said, I don't know anything. I can't answer. I just saw. I know nothing. He felt so humbled. He said, I can't answer. I'm just not in the space that I feel like I know. So my Rebbe said, I can't answer the simplest shayla. My father, who was very confident, and he knew a lot of Torah, and he was very confident, once went to speak to Reb Moshe learning. He looked at Reb Moshe. Moshe said, V'hestir, what's your name? V'hestir. My father forgot his name. He didn't talk in learning. He said, if I can't remember my name, I can't talk in learning. He was so awed by the giant Reb Moshe. So what Shapiro said is, after we lost the prophets, the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah, there was a sense, what do I know? I don't know anything. I don't know. Like a sense like that. The Anshe Knesset Hagdolah said, be deliberate in judgment, said, actually trust your svaras. Having misunim bedin means you're capable of yes knowing. Think through things, decide things, judge things. You have a das Torah, trust yourself. The best thing, there's a chavrusa I got, I consider my Rebbe for life. He changed my life in learning. From the best chavrusa ever out of my life, he taught me to trust my own. Imamish taught me. I didn't even realize how important your svara is. He taught me to trust my own svara. Michal, I was talking to somebody yesterday. I was telling them about Michal. Somebody came to my house last night. and was describing being in a shir that was like dazzling, was like a shir kloli, but he's leaving that shir. So I said, why are you leaving? He said, I didn't come to watch the Rebbe learn Torah, I want to learn Torah.
Ouch.
And he was saying, sometimes you go to a shir, he says such dazzling Torah, you don't learn to trust your own process, your own story. You have a kasha, you have a teretz. Michal, we had a chabura learning last year, and Michal was like very stark. We're not like, the whole matziv should be people think and learn something and have a question. Your process is a huge part of Torah. Right? Shapiro said brilliantly that the Anshe Knesset Agdol were talking to a generation that lost prophecy and to a generation that felt, we don't know. I saw greatness. And they devalued the svara of each person. What do you hold? What do you think? I want to express, and there's much to say on the topic. Rabbi Kiva's Talmidim were punished, the Gemara in Yevamah Samach Beis, Shalai Nagu Kavod Zelazeh, they didn't respect each other. There's much written, they were the biggest tzaddikim, they were huge. It's possible to understand it, and there's probably some bechina. It was dak men adak, they were big tzaddikim, but there was Rabbi Kiva. It's the Talmidim, Svara, what the Rebbe say? What the Rebbe say? And part of the Messiah Satira has to be that each person learns and as a process figure out Pshat. My father begged me and begged people close to him, when you want to get a halacha, looking up and really think. Really come up with an opinion, learn a sugya and trust your process. We're having a Kiddush Shemayim every Shabbos. Akiva Balsam has been saying Shirman Halacha. My wife and I have been enjoying immensely. He's like really learning the sugyas and trying to figure out what the halacha is. It's like refreshing. He's trying to figure out the halacha. It's a Kiddush Shemayim. I'm not getting involved in his conclusions, what they are or aren't. The Kiddush Shemayim of a Yid's like, this is the source. The Gemara says this. The Rishonim said he's like figuring out. Have a misunim bedin is trust your opinions. Like get busy. The opposite is not to not be impulsive. That wasn't what they were coming to be mighty. Don't be impulsive. Think. They were saying your opinion and you're working on the matter. Have a misunim bedin because you should actually trust your process. Your process is beautiful. If anybody thinks about Seder, the way Seder works in Gemara, is two people sit and they have a conversation. The process itself is part of Torah. One of the biggest chidushim in learning Gemara is, why does it say every havamin? Tell me the conclusion. The process is part of Torah Shabbal Peh. The Yid asking and answering and saying. That process is a beautiful process. It's a process of the Yid being mevakesh, the Dvar Hashem. That's what Anshe Knesset Agdol were teaching the generation. Have a misunim badin, like really go through it. And in a certain way, your darkness ends up being light. In a certain way, it's interesting. Rev Gifter, who was the Rav in Waterbury for 4 years, Rev Gifter at the end of his life started forgetting Torah. And he commented that a good side is like he likes not knowing again. He could like try to figure out again. Now, even if you know, there's plenty you don't know. So the comment was only bringing out a point that it's not so bad to be in a space of not knowing. I liked Anshe Knesset Agdol were almost saying, "Oh my love, a misunim badin." We're a oh my gosh, darkness. Let's figure things out. Let's sit down. Let's think the Dvar Hashem. Let's work our sugyas. There could be a tremendous light precisely from the darkness. In not know, we don't know. We have no neviim. Having misunim badin. Let's deliberate. Let's think the emesh. Let's be mevakish. Let's have conversation and dialogue. It's so precious. The bikush for the emes, the bikush for the Dvar Hashem is wonderful. Trust your svaras. Trust your thoughts. Go through your process. Shlomo Guri once expressed from the Rebbe, he once told the Chevra, so many people are trying to get good at learning, like to get a certain madrin. There's such a thing. But also learn. Like your own process, where you're up to of figuring out is beautiful. Two people sit down with a sefer, and that process of bikush emes has so much holiness and purification. The person sitting there trying to figure out, struggling, asking, arguing. That bikush emes is such a purifying experience. That's what Anshe Knesset Agdol was speaking to. There's something so encouraging and beautiful. It's true to everybody at their levels, but specifically you picture a dar, but all of a sudden the people before knew everything. And then comes our dar ani. We don't know. We're not going in. I don't know. Two people sit there figuring out. They're working hard back and forth, being mevakesh emes, have misunim adin. Trust your process, celebrate it's beautiful. When somebody went to the Rebbe describing, I'm weak in learning, he was he was literally giving over your bikush emes from where you are. It was that's the story, that's the beautiful story, that's everything beautiful happens there at your space, celebrating you're connecting to the Dvar Hashem. That is what Rabbi Shapiro learned, having Misunim Badin means, and that's what it's saying.
It's saying, don't go running to your Rebbe.
That's what he said. Deliberate. That's what he's saying. Deliberate. Really work through. Converse on the matter and talk about it. Right, Russ, you remember him saying? I like that pshat a lot. It rings true. Why are they the ones saying it? Was everybody acting impulsive in their times? He's saying people weren't deliberating. They thought, we don't know anymore. Who do we ask? Where do we find? Deliberate. And that's something beautiful, specific to your dar. I love this pshat, Arya. Yes.
Last year, after he said it again, he added a
He did?
also, yeah. He said, there's diuk in heaven. The way to get there is it's heaven, be. It's a unique lashon of it. He's just be, and that'll allow you, without the crazy, all the inspired members, just heaven, and that'll allow you to become to
Interesting. That's it. Yeah, I like that. That is an interesting word. It's funny that word hevu. Hevu misunim badin. Interesting what that word hevu is. What's he expressing with that? Be present to what's hitting you. What's hitting you?
Really, yeah. Don't try, not don't force things.
Yeah. The biggest question in learning is why? It's not resonating. That's he's saying somehow he sees that in the word hevu. Be present. Interesting. You like this pshat? I like it a lot. We love Rashi here, but this pshat, it's funny, and Misunim Badin, it bothers me. They said be deliberate in judgment. Oh, I thought not that it needs a chiddush, but why the Anshe Knesset Agdol teaching that? What's the deal? Rabbi Shapiro went on. He went on to say, Meir, that the next thing, Hamidu Talmidim Harbe, have many Talmidim. And he went on, the next step, you even become a vehicle to handle the sense of inadequacy for oneself. Having Misunim Badin is you have what to think. And at that point, you realize, give over to her. You could actually have Talmidim. You have what to get, and then you have what to give. The sense you have what to give is the next level of buildup of the person. Hamidu Talmid Mar, you have a tremendous amount that can come from within and give over. I want to say, it could be because Avi's here and I love him. I want to tell you a Leonard Cohen story. I like this story a lot. It's from a Yid. I want to quote Leonard Cohen, and it's what Rai Shapiro took in Amidu Talmidim Harbe. I want to express to the guys, there's something cool. I'm going to say the Leonard Cohen story in a second. What's that word when people have a sense, people are learning by them and they have a sense, who am I? But what's the word I'm looking for? There's a...
Imposter syndrome?
What'd you say? Imposter syndrome. Thank you, Mary. Imposter syndrome, somebody's teaching Torah.
No!
And the tendency is, who am I to teach? What were you teaching? Thanks a million there. Have you ever heard imposter syndrome? There's a sense, who am I to teach? And we make a tremendous, this time we make a mistake, and the neshama is mamish big, and there are times others can feel in your neshama what you can't feel, and plug in what you can't see. We mamish have big neshamas and big lights. Leonard Cohen, Lenny, I'm going to share.
Ow!
I'll share like this, Lenny. A guy was interviewing Leonard Cohen. So he said, Leonard, what did you mean? In a certain song, you said that. What did you mean when you said it? So Leonard, if you ever heard of him, he seemed to me a very honest person. So he had. So Leonard Cohen said, I don't know. He didn't say mamish. I don't know. The interviewer, in my eyes, did not seem so intelligent. I feel bad saying that. The way it looked to me was not like the brightest of the bunch. Not no crime. The interviewer says to Leonard Cohen, when you said that in your song, what did you mean? So Leonard Cohen said, I don't know. So the interviewer looks at him. Do you understand that the brightest people in the world are like clearing, are like thinking what Leonard Cohen meant? So he said, Leonard, like tell the world to knock it off. You don't even know what you meant. You have in England, you have Lord Sachs like writing brilliantly what Leonard meant. I know like brilliant people have shticklich tires and what pshat he's saying. And he asked Leonard Cohen, he said, I don't know what I meant. So the interviewer said, we have a whole fraud going on in the world, called them off. So Leonard Cohen looks and with such like sincerity, he said, of course they should analyze what I meant. He said, I think it would be a big gain. It came from deep in my soul. What I mean, it's worth studying. And the guy, I saw the interview, doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he. And of course, Leonard Cohen's right. Something came from a person. Let's study what he meant. There's deep things in a person. And to understand the neshama has deep lights, and if Leonard Cohen, a certain song came from him, and certain words he was moved to, so then it's worthy of thinking. What do you mean? He said, I might know what I meant, but something came from me. I felt something. So study. I think he should study. I think I should study. We both should figure out what I meant. And this Nekuda, Rai Shapiro was saying, Hamidu Talmidim Harbe, to have many Talmidim, is to the Anshe Knesset Agdol, we're speaking to a generation that lost prophecy, direct line. So then at that point, could I myself have a Misunim Badin? Think through, find what's deep inside your soul, find your light. Find your light and express your light. What you come out in a sugya, Hamidu Talmidim Harbe, and then it becomes important to give that over. What do you mean? It came from me, yeah. Came from you, you have a big neshama. Things come that are worthy of giving over and sharing with the next person from your soul to another soul. There are things worthy in us. Misunim b'dinish, trust your soul to the point that you're part of Messiah Satira now. Hamidu Talmidim Harbe, hand to the next eye. It came from me. Good, yeah, it came from you. Hashem sent and sends down to your neshama special light. Be ma'imid Talmidim. Now pass that on. And that becomes part of Torah itself. So these two tzivuyim, Misunim Adin Amidu Talmidim Harbe, all of a sudden it makes sense why the Anshe Knesset Agdol specifically were the ones who said it specifically. I want to add on, and this right Shapiro actually said a different shot, but the third thing they said is Asu Siyag La Torah, make fences for the Torah. This means the Rabbanu were mitzvah, the Torah itself was unkeepable. According to the Torah, all of us on Shabbos would drive to work. You're allowed to do everything on Shabbos, just do a shinui. Just do it different. You would drive, you would see everybody driving with their like wrong foot, doing work with do shinum, midaraisa shinum's mutter. But l'maisa, there would be crazy chilul Shabbos. There would be endless Chilul Shabbos. The Rabbanim were commanded to make sure Asu Siyag L'Torah, make a fence for the Torah, make sure the Torah is capable. The Rabbanim said you can't do any shinuyim, aser. And Hashem asked the Chachamim to make the Torah capable. And this part that is within the human being, why didn't Hashem just write the Torah in a way that's capable? Why didn't Hashem just aser shinui? Hashem matir shin and asked Hashem, you aser it. The nekuda that the Torah is in a person, the process of the person applying to the emes, according to Rai Shapiro.
Wow.
This is what the Mishnah itself is saying, that you're part of the process. The Torah will be written in a way that you can't keep it. And your job, through your want for emes, through your process of connecting to emes, that's all part of the Torah. Asu siyag l'Torah, make fences for the Torah. Connect to Torah, figure out how to bring the Torah into yourself. Asu siyag l'Torah. I'll tell you a very interesting thing that happened to me today. I'll tell you an interesting thing. I want to share this with the guys. It's going to be relevant in your own journeys. On the way to yeshiva, I get a call. From a lady. She says she has a chabura. She's a person, a growing person, and she has a chabura of people, a large chabura, and they learn Torah. And they want to connect to Torah. She said, what's safer? I want to connect to mitzvahs. Give me the sefer that will give me a connection, that will speak about maybe the depth of mitzvahs, that will give me that connection to mitzvahs. So we were talking for a while about this, and the thought occurred to me, in a certain way, I don't know if a sefer could give her what she wants. Your own thoughts, your own relating to mitzvahs, if somebody else tells you how they related, is not going to give you. People always want, I'm learning with a Baal Tshuva. What's that sefer I can learn that will. And if they see somebody who's connecting to mitzvahs in a way of fire, is there a sefer I can learn? Also get that? Everybody wants that sefer. You know what that sefer is? You. There's no sefer that could do that for you. The sefer can only be an inspiration that somebody else try to relate to mitzvahs. We're supposed to put on tefillin. We put on tefillin. So now, what is it saying to you? How do you relate to that experience? Now put on, and if it, I promise, the mitzvah secha amanti. I have emun and mitzvahs. You put on tefillin, it's life-changing. Your entire, you could go to 1,000 shmuz and nothing will impact you like putting on tefillin. But I want my guf, I want all my parts to touch it. So maybe study, maybe think. Hashem, our Creator, told us to put these on. What could it mean to me? How can I emotionally connect? That task nobody could do for you. Putting it on and being impacted for sure. Your own attachment, what it means to you. You can learn something and then apply it to yourself. That's your own job. Asu siyag l'Torah means your own journey. Ave misunim badin. Be deliberate. Trust your own thoughts. Have your own thoughts. Hamidu talmidim harbe. Know that through your own journey to Torah, you now become part of Torah. You have students. Students, the Torah came from me. Mm-hmm. Now give it over. It becomes part. Your journey to get Torah becomes part of Torah. Teach it to talmidim. Asu siyag l'Torah, the human being is part of the Torah experience. Hashem wrote the Torah in a way that the human being's own way of relating and understanding, how is this possible to keep? Oh, I can't do shinuyim. That's part of the Torah process. The human being's connection to the Dvar Emes is part of the Emes. So that's based on Rabbi Shapiro, how to learn this beautiful, beautiful Mishnah. Specifically for a Dar who had a Yerida, that's what Rabbi Shapiro expressed in this Mishnah. I thought it was remarkably relevant to our generation of tremendous bikush, tremendous want for Torah, and it was Nageya, this pshat in the Mishnah. How many years ago, Rebbe Ezi? Maybe even 3 years ago. He said it, Shal Shuddis, 3 years ago or 2 years ago from Rashi. Maybe even 3 years ago.
I was asleep.
This Mishnah. No, you were there. He said it in the annex. Right?
This version,
yeah. Is Shlomo Guri still here or he left already? What? We can't do guitars. I want to say like this. We're not going to do guitars. It's Sphira. And we're loyal. There's a Minig Yisrael. We've been following the Minig Yisrael. We're not listening to music right now. We're keeping that. But I feel funny. Avi, Shlomo, Meir is here. Maybe we can sing something together. Come up, Heber. We'll think of something we could sing together. Come. That's good. Avi. Oh, you got one from Matthew, right? That's real. Avi got you a seat also. Gabe, where's Gabe? Games, that game. I want to watch. No. There's not a spectators. Are you? Misano.
We did sing it.
You remember when we found that his It was in Sulam, right? It was the Sulam color war experience, he said. What song should we do? What's the one? Which one did he sing? It's obvious. Yes.
Thanks for reading.
What other song? Abram Come Joy? Let's get Abram up there.
Oh! Let me that was smooth, let me try.
Shlomo, you were 1 for 1 on your pick. The other
Yeah,
second.
thank you. That was Avi's pick, actually.
Who was it?
Avi.
Thank you, Avi.
Yeah.
That should be Zush. Could be not. No, do something.
Achar
We're going to have Shimshi join in a minute. I want to share Dvar Torah, L'kavod Rav Aryeh Weiss, Shlita being here. I want to share a quick Torah thought that I have learned this idea from Rav Aryeh. I want to express it to tie together. We came from the meeting with the camps. I want to speak about that. Very briefly, I want to speak about the following truth, including learning of Pshat and a Pasuk in Koheles. And it goes like this. The next Mishnah in Avos says, Shimon HaTzadik hayu mishiyari knesses hagdola. Shimon HaTzadik was from the remnants, like the leftovers of the Anshe Knesses hagdola. Very interesting. What's this leftover deal? You never want to be called leftovers. The funny thing, even though people call the survivors the she'eres hapleta, the remnants, so it's not a negative connotation, but it needs a pshat, and I don't want to say a pshat right now, though. What's this? Shiyarim is like leftovers, what's being expressed. But Shimon HaTzadik is the Shiyarei Knesses Hagdola. I want to say this, you'll hear it's going to be relevant to verb we're going to say in a second. So Shimon HaTzadik is from the remains of the Anshe Knesses Hagdola. Hua Yomer, he said three things. Al Shleish, Hua Yomer used to say, Al Shleish Dvar Ma'olam Oimed. The world stands, there are three pillars to the world. Torah. One pillar of the world is Torah. A second pillar of the world is Avodah. And the third pillar of the world is Gemilos Chasadim, acts of kindnesses, plural. And the question I want to ask is, why did he say Chesed? Three pillars of the world. Torah, Avodah, and Chesed. What's Gemilos Chasadim, acts of kindnesses, plural? He's talking about the three pillars of the world. Torah, Avodah, and Chesed. Al Chesed. Goyim al Chesed. Doing... Why does he say plural, Gemilos Chasadim, doing acts of kindnesses? The world stands on Torah, Avodah, and Chesed. What is this plural? And it says Gemilos Chasadim, to be Goyim el Chesed is to do Chesed. Doing Gemilos, plural, Chasadim, plural kindnesses. It should say the world stands on Torah, Avodah, and Chesed. What's Gemilos Chasadim? So I want to share something that I've observed in my life. Something I've observed. The Pasuk in Koheles will say it from this way. Rav Aryeh and I have spoken about this a lot, and I've observed it in our world here in Durham, and I've observed it. This is just the truth. The smartest man who ever lived says, Shlach lachem al pnei hamayim. Do chesed. Throw your breads on the water. Ki b'roiv hayamim timsena. In many days you'll find the bread you threw. That's what the smartest man who ever said. Throw out your bread. Shlach lachem al pnei hamayim. Throw it out there. Ki b'roiv hayamim timsena. In many days your breads will come back to you. You'll find them. What's the smartest man expression? It's, some people, there are a lot of famous stories where somebody was nice. There are stories of the Holocaust where somebody was nice to a neighbor, and then that neighbor ends up saving their life. That neighbor ends up being a guard in the concentration camps, and there's many such stories. And certainly when that happens, you say, Shlach lachem al pnei hamayim. Do chesed, b'roiv hayamim timse'ena. In many days, with the Ribi of Yanim, you will find it. That sometimes happens. It's a great Pesach runs through it, and it's wonderful. What's he saying? Sometimes it doesn't happen. Who said you'll find it? What's he expressing? Sometimes he says as a matter of fact, in many days you'll find it. Will you always have everybody you're nice to? You'll have a great story, how later on they save your life. I want to express what I think, what I know as a truth, and I think what Shlomo HaMelech means. Do chesed, in many days you'll find it. I want to express that when we do chesed to somebody, we bring a certain kindness, and it unleashes that person to do chesed as well. Chesed, when somebody is kind, unleashes in the next person a kindness, which unleashes the next person a kindness. I was observing today, it was interesting, a lot of the guys now running trips went on trips. A lot of the guys running the trips went on trips. And there's something beautiful about it, that this person received kindness and now he's giving kindness. I remember one day in Sulam, there was a carnival. Rav Aryeh brought a carnival. So you see the first kindness, somebody spent money to like cheer up the guys, and they brought a carnival. And the guys there were setting up, the guys should have fun, kindness. The guy who was setting up the carnival was a musician, and a lot of guys in yeshiva were giving him a lot of respect. For like, oh, you made up music. He was playing his song to guys. So the guys were doing kindness to him. Then he was allowing people to do his rides. I saw like kindness. It looked like, I felt like I was tasting eternity. Kindness that causes more kindness, Shlomo Melech is making an observation. When you're kind, you unleash a torrent of kindness. The world's a better place. You were kind to somebody, you unleashed their very neshama. When somebody receives, I have watched in yeshiva, a new guy comes to yeshiva. It's very hard to be a new guy in yeshiva. There are about 12 to 15 guys who just came now to yeshiva. It's murder to be new. Especially in a place of connection, it's harder to be new here. If you're new in a secular school, it's everybody, the bell rings and you go there, in a place of connection and you're new, you go to a shir and they're mamish tight with each other, it's hard to be new here. There's relationship, there's conversation. You've had many conversations with friends, he hasn't. And I watch Cheka sees a new guy, he runs after, makes the guy comfortable. That's how I watch. In a year, that guy's going to be a vet here, and he remembers somebody was kind to me. Somebody saw me and noticed me, and he's going to repeat the kindness to somebody else, who's going to repeat the kindness. You're going to have a world, the guy's going to be a nicer to his wife in 10 years. And by the way, the kindness comes back to you in 100 ways. Shlomo Melech observed, Olam Haba is going to be so much fun to see just the emes, the sense of what your kindness caused is retarded. The amount of change, you do worldwide change from your kindness, it's retarded. If you think about the change, it's interesting to me. It's funny to say publicly, because it's interesting to me, just because in our world, I like thinking about these things. The President of the United States' son-in-law is a frum Yid. He's a frum Yid. He's probably having a lot, I don't know how much impact on decisions anti-Semites are saying bad things. Hashem runs the world. Imagine some Rebbe was nice to Reb Jared in 3rd grade, caused him to be more kind, to be more gentle. Here he's impacting world things. If you follow trails of kindness, it changes the entire world. Shlomo Melech made a deep observation. He was the smartest man to ever live. He said, you don't need the crazy story. I was nice to that kid, and he said, Shlach lach mechal pnei hamayim. Throw out your breads on the water. Ki b'roi vayamim timsena will be found in the world. You create as reverberations a world of kindness. It's one of the most beautiful things to watch here is people receive and they give, receive and they give, receive and they give. They become vessels of giving. They become vessels. You watch somebody who is seen and he becomes somebody who sees other. You watch somebody who receives kindness and he becomes a vehicle of initiating kindness and giving. You could watch it happen. The trips itself, I loved watching the presenters. Many of them were on trips themselves. An older guy took the time, made a nice summer, and together, with respect, with love. And then I watch Akiva. Akiva went on a trip himself, was seen, and now he's giving, and it's just this torrent of kindness that spills onto the world in the most real of ways. It's just an amazing truth. We're not going to be privy. Shai is one of the nicest, one of the kindest I've met in my life. You won't see you won't always be tracked, Shai. One day your kid's life is going to be saved by a guy, and you won't know this. That guy came like mamish from your kindness. He was born from your kindness. His father only had a kid because of your kindness. These are realities. We're not privy to all these things. These are things only God can follow. We can't follow. There's a world, one day we're going to laugh our head off. We're going to discover things. A guy does a random act. Now, it's fun when you could follow it. It's fun when you could say, you do kindness, you don't know where that takes the recipients of your kindness. You don't know what comes out from that kindness. But things you created and made from that kindness, I promise you, Shlomo HaMelech says, a student of this world, he can guarantee, you don't need that crazy story, the guy you said hello to, and he ends up saving you, we shouldn't have difficulties, we shouldn't have camps. But when you say hello to a guy, that guy is chizik's nice to his wife, was nice to her student in school, or that student in school ends up marrying your... These things, B'roi v'yamim timsena, Shlomo HaMelech promises, put kindness to the world, it will just repeat, it will be in the world, Lanetzach, it repeats. I think it doesn't say act of kindness, because that's not how kindness works. Kindness is just, it's that which multiplies. It's that which increases. There's no such thing as chesed, as gemilus chasadim. They're acts of kindnesses. If you do one, it goes lenetzach, because it goes to that. It's the nature of chesed multiplies and grows and develops and has a life of its own. Avram Avinu's chesed changed this world because it went, and then that's why I think he says three stands: Torah, Avodah. He doesn't say chesed, gemilus chasadim, acts of kindnesses that keep repeating. What I've watched, Rav Aryeh Weiss has created. He's created a world. He's created a world not where there's a chesed done, where people then who are doing chesed. See, here I want to say my second chiddush. It should say chasadim. So Kalish, if you're right, Torah, Avodah, and chasadim. So I'm claiming it doesn't say chesed because chesed multiplies. Chesed becomes chasadim. There's no such thing as one chesed. Chesed, but it said gemilus chasadim to be goimel chesed. There's a huge kasha, Chevra, and I want to end with this. We have to get the second seder. 5 o'clock, it's 5 seconds. I want to end like this. Why does it call it Gemilus Chasadim? There's a big steer, Shai. I want you, it's late, we've gone a long time. I want you to hear this, man. Gemilus Chasadim is a contradiction. If a guy works for you really hard and you pay him, is that called Chesed Avi? He earned it. Chesed is what a guy didn't earn. He didn't earn it, Shai. Chesed, if a guy works hard for you and you pay him, you do Chesed to him, he earned it. That's called MS. We call MS and Chesed. That's MS. He worked and you owe him. Chesed is what by its nature somebody doesn't deserve. The problem is that we call it, the Mishnah calls it, Torah is exact. Gemilus Chasadim. You know what Gemol means? Gemol means that which you owe somebody. Gemol means schar. The Ramban wrote a sefer called Shar HaGemol. Gemol means schar. V'heishloi gemuloi b'reishai. The translation of Gemol means payment. Now we have a real problem. Gemilus Chasadim is a complete contradiction. Gemilus is to give a guy what they deserve. Chesed is what they don't deserve.
Uh-oh.
The very expression, if it's chesed, it's not gemul. If it's gemul, what does it mean to be? And we're told to be goyimel chesed. So I want to express that there are two ways to do kindness. One does not spread and one spreads. What's the brand of kindness that creates somebody who does kindness and does kindness? There's two brands of kindness. We come from Avraham Avinu, a very specific brand. Is there such a thing as bad kindness? So it says, Chesed l'umim chatas. The Chesed Shloim, the smartest man again who ever lived, said the Chesed of Goyim chatas is a sin. There's something called bad kindness. I have another proof there's something called bad kindness. It says Hashem is goymel chasadim tovim. He's goymel good kindnesses. So you see there's obviously something called bad kindness. The worst type of kindness is pity. Give the nebuch. You see that nebuch? That unfortunate kid, look at this guy. That type of kindness does not produce a kind person. It actually reinforces the guy's a nebuch. You give something to the nebuch, you actually reinforce him. He actually just becomes a taker. When you give something to somebody in a way that you're just, oh, poor guy, nebuch. When you give him $1 like that, you actually make him more of a receiver. It's not a chesed that grows. The chesed that grows is gemilus chasadim. Gemol means you deserve this. I'm like moved by you. I want you to have it. Like you're worthy of kindness. It's ki'ilu, it's gemol, as if I'm paying you. It's yours. You like deserve this. By your very essence, by your beauty, by your specialness, you deserve it. That's why it's called gemilus chasadim. It's ki'ilu, it's gemol. I'm giving you what comes to you. You're like worthy of this. You deserve it. When you do kindness in this way, you actually produce somebody who does kindness. Person, the kindness itself. Avram Avinu fed his guests, they became people who fed others. It restored them, like we're something. There's a certain type of kindness that buries a person. It teaches a person. If you look at the Torah, Avram Avinu meets these 3 travelers. He says, Adonai, my masters. Allah Sabram, is it possible? Is there any chance I could have you? They're looking at him like, are you serious? He's like, can I have the opportunity? That's mamish in the Torah. Allah Sabram Abdecha. Please don't. Is it like any chance I could have you? There's certain guys, they need it off Shabbos. If you think of a guy in yeshiva people are into, a guy says, like, I need a place for Shabbos. I need a place for picture of Shimshi Panet needs a place for Shabbos. People fight over it. Can I have you? When Shimshi comes to my house, we're like, whoa, he chose us. We got it. He chose, it's a big covet. Avram Avinu's brand of chesed, that's in the Torah. It's the Pashup shot in the Torah. He saw, he had ayin tov, he saw the human being. He was like the chosen one when you came to him. Allah Savra Me'alavdech, is there any chance I could have you? He had such good einayim to have somebody was like, it was like chosen. He felt so honored. It was an honor. He felt blessed to have somebody. That's Avram Avinu's brand of chesed. A chesed that comes out of deep appreciation. The other person, they're like worthy. If Shlomo Guri asked any guy in the yeshiva, could I come for Shabbos? The guy had promised him. It's like, I think so. Yeah, like Ravezi would go, yeah, like come, like please. How much do you charge? That's Avram Avinu's brand of chesed every year. Avram Avinu had einayim to see a yid that when Avram Avinu's chesed was gemilus chesed, was gemol, you got what you deserved. You were like worthy of it. That type of chesed produces a person who then does chesed to others. The person learned their worth. When a person ate by Avram Avinu's house, became a person who hosted others. Avram Avinu produced a whole nation of hosts. When you were hosted by Avram, you became a host. You learned who you were. Okay, I'm worthy, and you host others. That's the brand of chesed. Gemilus chasadim. If you're goymel, giving somebody what you see them as worthy of chasadim, it becomes kindnesses. The chesed to them becomes chesed to others. It becomes a whole cycle of chesed. Shlach lachim ne'amayim. Send out your bread. B'roi vayam timsena. The whole world's olam chesed yibanim. An entire world of chesed gets formed. Chesed that completes it. You know what I'm saying, Shai? beautiful world. I saw on these trips, people who got trips, giving trips, who get trips. I love that. You see it in unforced chill. I love when guys on the trips are helping and chesed, unforced. It's a natural flow of you taking care. You feel your dignity, and then you're taking care of. It's this beautiful world of kindness. That day in Sulam that I experienced, that's this beautiful world of kindness that a person should do. I want to express, and there are other times to express, but I'm talking about the camps, and we're talking about a world of kindness. I want to express, if he never does another camp, I'll be virtual. And I hope maybe he'll do it this summer. I'm not putting any pressure. I want to express, we built the world. Who does kindness and did kindness? This is the whole, everything that we have here in Durham. I see this type of kindness from Navarri. It's always with a sense. The appellas, the recipient doesn't feel lowered. The recipient feels like you're worthy of this kindness. And the raya ledaber, the proof to the matter, you can ask yourself about the type of chesed. Do you pity or do you respect? Does it cause a person who does chesed? If you respect, when you do the chesed, you'll see they become a machine of chesed. They're respected. They become worthy of doing chesed, giving. They see they have. The person recognizes, I'm alive, and becomes a vehicle of kindness. And that's this reverberating of this kindness that just goes endless. Kindness, the kindness, the kindness. It would be cool if we had the eyes of Hashem to follow this kindness, to follow this world of kindness. Like, to say it, it would be like remarkable. We would see all the time somebody's nice to us came from our Father's kindness to them. It's just the world. Shlach lach, man, I throw out your bread. You have what you want, throw it out, and it will certainly come back to you. Have an outstanding day. Let's do one more song. One more song before a second Seder. Mechi, you're going to join the choir. And
Solo.
Shlomo, I would pick it. Pick 2 for 2. I have ideas, but yours already. He has one?
No, I'm just saying 2 for 2 might be
I'm
Do you have a song left? We'll mix it if you don't like it.
I haven't signed that, bro.
That was the one song I wanted to do. I didn't know who do it.
That's crazy.
But do you guys know it?
You know Edward?
Gabby, you know Edward?
So,
What?
I think so, sort of.
No?
Yeah, maybe look it up.
No? Camera before they start, how beautiful the three brothers. And as you see the three brothers. Next to the Rebbe. Wow, and they're sitting like an age order. Did you purposely sit in age order?
Should we take like a Shabbos picture right now?
How nice is that? The three brothers. I'm so happy I sat right next to the Rebbe. Russ, you noticed they sat in order? Did you move them like?
You did make that. That's crazy. What can you make?
Where's Shimon picture of the year? Yats, you like this scene? Three brothers next to each other.
It's like your file.
Sorry, I was blocking them.
I got you guys.
home to Mayor Katz. I'm very welcome home as well to Joey Heidemann. We're having Joey. It's now 5:13. At 5:17, we'll begin second save.
Let's go! Where's Lally?
That is actually